Satan is the name of the Russian intercontinental ballistic missile. It is in every respect the most powerful missile in the world, weighing more than 210 tons and over 34 meters long. The missile system with this ICBM is designed to hit all kinds of targets, including those protected by modern missile defenses. The flight speed of this missile reaches more than 5 miles per second, which provides it with the ability to fly from Moscow to New York in 18 minutes. An important advantage is the ability to use separable warheads and maneuverable monoblock warheads. On board, one missile can be 10 warheads with a power of 55 kilotons, and then the missile can fly 7,000 miles, which is almost equal to the diameter of the Earth. If 10 such warheads attack New York City, it would have a target area of more than 1,000 square miles and would kill about 5 million people. Or there could be one more powerful nuclear warhead on board, 20 megatons, in which case the missile could travel 10,000 miles, which exceeds the diameter of the Earth by as much as a third. If a 20 megaton nuclear warhead attacks New York, it could look like this. A massive nuclear explosion would kill about 5 million people, and the fallout would travel up the entire coast and reach the Canadian border. The power of a salvo by a division of the Strategic Missile Forces armed with Satan is equal to the 13,000 bombs detonated at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 15 missiles of the complex were guaranteed to destroy the entire industrial potential of the United States. With the appearance of the first examples of this missile, the Soviet Union achieved true nuclear parity with the United States for the first time. The weapon also had the advantage of being immune to the effects of electromagnetic pulse. The missile's flight control system cannot be damaged by electromagnetic radiation pulses because all the control systems of the Satan are duplicated, in addition to the electronic ones, by pneumatic automatons. The missile consists of 3 components: the first stage, the second stage, and the warhead. The first and second stages are powerful engines that allow the rocket comparable in weight to 150 average passenger cars to leave the Earth's atmosphere. On the first stage, you can see 4 nozzles, each one a separate engine, and the deflection of the engines allows the rocket to correct the flight and have an accuracy of about 100 meters. The jet part of the rocket has been used by Russia not only for military purposes. With the help of this rocket, you can put satellites into Earth orbit, and also Russian scientists have put forward a proposal to modify the rocket to destroy approaching asteroids to Earth. But this is not the limit for Satan. The rocket may well be used for short-range interplanetary transportation, delivery of cargo to the Moon, Mars, and Venus. If necessary, Satan can deliver nuclear warheads there as well. Today, these missiles are being decommissioned and scrapped, but according to some sources, there are still 10 to 50 missiles that the Russian leadership has hidden from the US, and they are still on duty. Nevertheless, they are actively being replaced by the more advanced Sarmat missile with a Vanguard warhead. This missile is almost impossible to intercept. I told about it in one of the videos on this channel. Here is the link.
This is Russia's most dangerous nuclear missile, or rather, the world's most dangerous nuclear missile. But to be precise, not the whole thing, but the maneuverable block, which is located in the head of the missile. In the mid-1980s, Russian scientists under the leadership of chief designer Pavel Sudyukov began work on the project under the code 4202. The purpose of the work was to try to find a lock to the US missile defense system. It was then that the Avangard system was developed. Avangard consists of 2 elements. The first is an intercontinental ballistic missile, responsible for acceleration and bringing the warhead to the calculated trajectory. The second element is the hypersonic gliding-winged warhead. The gliding-winged combat unit is seriously different from its competitors in terms of its operating principles. Unlike conventional warheads, the winged unit is capable of performing a planning flight, not just falling on the target. Because of this, it is almost impossible to intercept. The Avangard has a very high speed. According to the results of the next test launch, it was reported to reach a speed of 27 Mach number. It is 32,217 kilometers or 20,019 miles. This allows it for an hour and a little to make a full circle around the planet, or just 16 minutes to cover the distance from Moscow to New York. No air defense system can deal with a missile like that. Only missile defense has a chance, and that's small. The launch of an intercontinental missile will not go unnoticed. It can be tracked by satellite reconnaissance. This means that you can learn about the launch in advance, and there will be some time to react. In flight, the hypersonic Avangard forms a cloud of plasma around itself, which is detected by infrared reconnaissance satellites. This makes it possible to track the missile's movement. But that's not the problem. Anti-missile defenses use a kinetic method of interception. When a conventional missile is launched, it has a fairly predictable trajectory and is relatively easy to target. But the Avangard block can literally dodge such an attack because it can change its flight path. The explosive power of the nuclear warhead carried by the Avangard missile is reported to be more than 2 megatons in TNT equivalent, which is 100 times greater than the bomb dropped on Nagasaki. For example, if Avangard were to be dropped on New York City, the destruction would be over 25 kilometers in radius. More than 2 million people would die, and over 3.5 million people would be injured. The nuclear mushroom would reach the altitude that airplanes normally fly. But it's unlikely that such a missile would be used on cities. It's more likely to target radars and missile defense sites, so that Russia can then have the opportunity to uncontrollably use more obsolete nuclear weapons, of which it has 5,889 in nuclear storage. But I ask you to remember that any weapon is bad. We are human beings, and we were born to create and create happiness around us. Subscribe to the channel and let's discuss this missile in the...
Hey, Shalom, Call Halal, Yahweh Shmiao Shai Bashim Hakadash, the ones the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, Shalom to you brothers in the highways and byways, doing the works sincerely and faithfully, and continually fighting that good fight of faith as well, Lord willing, we are found in that number, all right? So we was kind of, chopping it up at camp today, after camp, and we talked about, just the missiles, the destruction that's nigh at hand. And I want to just make a disclaimer about fair use of the videos that we just played for educational purposes only. So that's the Fair Use Act that's being implied right now. But after watching these two videos, it gives you an understanding of the power and the travel speed and all the other components that go into this missile, Satan 1 and Satan 2 Avangard. All right. And we were speaking about how we understand why the Lord has to, remove us from off the planet because of that transgression. All right. So without further ado, let's get Isaiah 26. Isaiah 26 says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut the doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were a little moment, until the indignation be overpast." All right. So this is the Lord bringing up the hopeful elect into the chariot. All right. And we're going to remain in the chariot as it were a little moment, until the indignation, the righteous anger of the Lord be overpast. And rightfully so. The Lord is furious with Babylon the Great for all the blood that it has shed of the children of Israel throughout the years and even till present day. All right. So the Lord has a righteous anger that he's going to administer on Babylon the Great. All right. But all that being said, Revelation 11 and 12, it says, "And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them." All right. So right before the destruction, the Lord's going to call up the hopeful elect, and we're going to ascend up into what? A cloud, which says the chariots, as it is written, a cloud by night and a pillar of fire by night. A cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. And our enemies are going to beheld us, because they're going to see what the Lord is going to do, the magnificent works of the Lord. So much so, people are going to be dropping dead from over this. You know, brothers might be right there talking with them, chopping it up, eating lunch or whatever. The next thing you know, they're gone. Fearful sights, man. That's also going to be a fearful sight to the masses who don't believe, primarily. What Esau is trying to do, you'll see these videos where, so-called people just be disappearing right off the rip, just gone. All right. Esau is trying to give you some information, but he's so far gone, anything he puts out there is just for entertainment purposes or conspiracy theorist shit. All right. But that being said, we going to be ascend up. We going to be up in the heavens in the chariot, watching this place burn. From what? The thermonuclear destruction. Jeremiah 50:14 says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round the bow, all ye that bend the bow." Now, those videos was a great, visual for one to get understanding about those thermonuclear missiles, ICBM missiles. All right. They're in the shape of an arrow. All right. And how do you shoot an arrow? By bending the bow. All right. So it says, "Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord." Right. And when these nuclear missiles get shot over here, and when they hit ground zero, whatever location they may be, this is what's going to make this earth reel to and fro like a drunkard. All right. Now, you have earthquakes, and some of the highest earthquakes that have been recorded as of late, 9.3, 9.4 on the Richter scale. And when you see the destruction that these earthquakes cause, all right, it's shocking to see buildings tipped over, the ground opening up, people being buried under all kinds of rubble. Just multiply that, with the thermonuclear missiles that are going to hit this place. And this is why, as we said earlier, this is why there's going to be a lot of people, bugged out when we come down from them chariots, man. Because of the fearful things that are going to happen to this world, to the earth, when it begins to be shook up. People are going to be dropping dead of fear. Because it's going to be something that they've never ever experienced, nor were they prepared to experience it. All right? Verse 15. It says, "Shout against her round about. She has given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her, as she has done, do unto her. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and shall flee every one to his own land." All right. So these are some of the things that are going to start happening right before the true destruction starts flying around. All right. People are going to go back to their roots where they feel protected. Because here in America, man, nobody's protected. This government ain't going to protect you. They're killing you. The military is not going to protect you. They got foreign troops over here. All right. And if you think for 1 minute that your neighbor is going to help you, he's going to have no pity upon you. All right. So the Lord didn't leave no stone unturned, man. All the bases are covered. Anything that can possibly go wrong or anything that can possibly happen will happen. Okay? But again, the point of the lesson is the Lord having to deliver us up off this planet. right. Let's go back. My glasses. Isaiah 24:20. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. All right. So ultimately, the only place that's truly going to be utterly destroyed and never ever inhabited again is Babylon the Great, aka this place. All right. It's never going to be inhabited. And why is the transgression going to be heavy upon it? Because of what these thermonuclear missiles are going to do to it. You know, they say 20 million missiles is going to be a lot of destruction, man. And the unaliving is just going to be any and everybody outside of the hope for the elect that is here at ground zero is going to be done. That's the bottom line to that. All right. But there's a lot more other videos that Lord willing I can get to, a couple of them, and I'll put them up just to give you, just to start preparing your mind and feeding your brain with how this thing is going to ultimately go down with these thermonuclear missiles, with the missile defense programs, with the nations getting in league with different nations to come fight to the war. All right, there's a lot of important things that are taking place right now, and knowing who the key players are. All right. All right. So with that, I was wanting to make a real quick one concerning them thermonuclear missiles, Satan and Satan II, the avant-garde, and their maneuverable capabilities and the technology that's now being put into some of these things with infrared radar. And it's amazing, man. It's absolutely amazing. And these things that these missiles they possess is pretty much foolproof, man. This missile defense system here in Babylon is just ain't gonna cut it, man. All right. So Lord willing, I'm gonna see y'all another one. I'm gonna say shalom.